Good morning. I don't know if you can hear the birds in the forest, but they're really singing today. And there is my endless summer hydrangea, and yes, I have the pH changed to turn it blue. So I'm really excited. It's a pretty big plant. Focus in. Now, don't be alarmed by the cage. It's the only way to keep the dog out. They can't see it from the road, but so if you're at the road, you don't see it, you just see blooms. This one's starting to turn, they come out a little pale white and then they get the blue tips on them. They will fade into a purplish as they get older. But I've got two big mop heads and there's a couple other blooms on the way. And then I use a lot of impatiens across the front border. You can see my leaf mulch. I use leaf mulch. And then we've got all kinds of stuff here. Most of it is all my impatiens across the front. And then there's some columbines over here. They've already bloomed, like that one there. And there's a bleeding heart back there. And then if you look, this coleus we've had for 3 years. Every single year now, I take it and I take cuttings off of it, put them in water, root them out, keep them over the winter. That grows, I give it a sunny window, and I root it as well. And then I make a bunch of plants off of it. So I had a few extra plants that made it this year, so I just tucked them in. There's my caladiums coming up. The caladiums love the warmth, so the warmer the better. Oh, here's one of my columbines blooming. See, aren't they pretty? They're almost done blooming, but they're a pretty little flower. Yes, there's a cage over it, once again, to keep the dog out. There's a caladium coming up there. You can see them coming in right there from underground. So the hotter it gets, the more the caladiums like it. And then I let them come up naturally. We do that at work. And they last almost all summer to the very first freeze, and then they're done. At the first freeze, I will go in and pull those caladium bulbs out of the ground, put them somewhere where they can dry, dust them off, and then I put them in a dry storage for the winter. And so I've been able to keep some of my caladium bulbs and replant them the next year, doing that way. There's a grasshopper. Oh, go away. Get off my plant. That's another one of those little coleus I rooted. But yeah. And then our pots this year on the front porch are huge. So let's stand back a little bit. Look at the size of this puppy. That is a pink angel wing begonia. That's the big angel wing begonia. That's considered a jumbo begonia. I had some, and then I just filled the rest of the pots. So in the bottom is the pink splash. There's a little Dusty Miller and impatiens. And then same thing with this pot over here. Same combination is over there. Then this little red pot, we do red, white, and silver, so kind of like a red, white, and blue theme. This little pot here, you can see the caladium coming up. There again is that same coleus. So, let me see. That's the same coleus. That's the one I overwinter every year. And you can see this one. This is showing a little bit of chlorosis. I got that on sale. I'm hoping it'll bloom again. It has these cute little blooms. So I'm probably going to hit it with a little fish emulsion the next time I water and see if we can't green that back up a little bit. The rest of the pot's doing great. It loves it. And then this year, for the just plain old begonia, the big begonias, I got the bronze. So this was kind of a bronze rosy color. Not quite red, but not quite full light pink. But it's very pretty. And then once again, I've got pink splash. And then there's actually alocasia or elephant's ear. I had a little elephant ear bulb I threw in there. So that's coming up. And then we go across, and then same thing over here on this one. Look how nice this one's doing. This one's doing great. And yep, I've got The caladium is starting to come up in this one. You can see in the back there. And then if I come up, once again, there's the bronze angel wing begonia. Oh, my flag. Let me move that so we can see it. Pink splash, elephant ear. Oh, and then the green filler. Now, back here you can see you've got some more stuff coming up. Like there's a little elephant ear coming up, and there's my coleus. But then I used some corkscrew rush, and those are just ornamental berries that came out of a flower arrangement. I just stuck them in there because they were colorful. But that's corkscrew rush. So both pots have a little corkscrew rush in them as a filler. And it worked out really good this year. But yeah, these, I have to say, the star of the show is the big angel wing begonias. They're huge. I've actually got a client that he has his done in bright, his whole front yard all the way across the front is done in the deep red angel wing begonias. And they can get like 2.5, 3 feet tall in just a month or two, planted correctly. And they're stunning going across the front of his house. He does spend a ton of money doing it too. There again is the same coleus. Look how nice that one's coming out. It's getting a little more light. And of course my pink impatience. Oh, and that's a columbine that I collected that seed last year from Yellowstone. Just there's a store outside of Yellowstone Park. So it was outside Yellowstone Park. And there's this little convenience store going back into Cody, Wyoming, and we stopped there to use the restroom and get a drink. And they had this bed full of columbines, and they bloom in the full sun, middle summer up there. And I pulled some of the seed off and kept it, and that's what a couple of these coleus or columbines are over here. So I don't know what color it is. We're going to find out. But that seed comes from just outside Yellowstone Park in Wyoming. And then once again, more impatience. And then I'll show you the bad, the good with the bad with the good. This is an endless summer hydrangea. And we started losing a couple stalks on it last year, and now it is completely expired. We don't know if it was rot. We don't know if there's a varmint underneath it. I'm getting, actually, that's why I'm taping this now, because I was getting ready to dig it out. I am going to dig it out. We're going to assess the situation and see what the problem is. So we've got to find out what's killing it. Because I did have a couple on my, this is my tiny Tough Stuff hydrangea. Or my Tough Stuff hydrangea, not a tiny. And this is a lace cap type flower. Real pretty. It's a real deep purple this year. That actually started showing same symptoms down there. So we got to figure that out. This here is actually another endless summer hydrangea that grew from a stem cutting that layered itself. So that probably will be put back into this place if we can figure out what happened. Oh, more of my coleus. There's my coleus that I overwintered and grew. There's another one of those columbines. There's another one there. So they're in the soil to keep them alive and going throughout the summer. And then there's some more impatience underneath. Now this is my stand of elephant ears. So this little stand here will get larger as we go into the summer. I've just got a little stand of elephant ears. They do have to be dug up every year here. And I'm glad I dug them up last year especially, because that cold snap in December killed a lot of things. This is a peony. This peony did not bloom this year, which is the first year. It's really in not a great spot anyways. It's a Sandra Bernhardt. I already own another Sandra Bernhardt, which is a light pink, over in the full sun that blooms every year. So this may disappear. Something else can go in this spot, and I'll take it and gift it to somebody. The best time to dig these up is going to be in the fall, so that's probably what's going to happen. Because if it's not going to bloom, it needs to go to someone to get in the full, better sunlight and bloom. I don't have room anywhere else for it. That's Elegans hosta. It just finished blooming, you can see. Oh, I got to deadhead that. I don't want seed taken away from the root. And there's more columbine. The columbine is a really nice early spring bloomer for us, so I keep it. It's a perennial. And then there's more of that. There are some caladiums. You can look down. See a little caladiums coming up down there? Way down there. There they are. So they're coming in. They're starting to come up there. So there'll be a few caladiums right there coming up, peeking up. This is sun coleus. So that's redhead. That's wasabi, which is like a chartreuse lime. And then I plant more of it over here. I couldn't tell you offhand the red edges is, but I bought it because it matches both of them and it goes to it. So as those will fill in, by the end of summer, those will be like 2 or 3 feet tall and a big batch of just colorful leaves. So we're almost done blooming for this. This is a Happy Days. I've got a couple blooms left. It's been blooming for about 2.5, 3 weeks. This is a daylily called Happy Days. It's a creamy yellow with fringy petal edges. And I've really liked it. So, oh, look who it is. But I know, baby. You're always looking for attention. Yes, Hims need some attention. And then this is my big prize. This is the big pot that sits on the step as you come up to the house on this side. It's a big copper pot, but it works great. So in here is a new coleus that I will probably start overwintering to save. This is sun coral coleus. It is a sun coleus, so it works in the sunlight. There's also, this is that other Kufia that attracts hummingbirds with the little orange coral. The hummingbirds do come to that. And then this is a lime lycoris. This is Million Bells. So it's a super bells, kind of a petunia offshoot. They like to be in containers. They like real good drainage. They prefer to be in containers. They're not real happy in the soil, in ground beds. So but they are a great container plant. It'll get big and spill over a little bit. In the center is a variegated impatient with the bright pink. That's a sun patient is what that's called. So that's a impatient for the sunlight. And then this, where the Peachy Keen, that is Proven Winners Peachy Keen Verbena. And it's a nice accent for the other peachy colors. So that's probably like my biggest container right there. It's a really pretty one, and that's the first thing you see when you come up. Now this is another daylily, and it's not blooming this year. It's actually got a peachy color to it. So we're going to fertilize that a little bit more and see if we can't get her to bloom again. She bloomed once last year, but she's like a rescue. So she's something I brought back from the dead. That is actually hardy hibiscus that I grew from seed. So it'll have a white bloom with a red throat. See the little blooms getting ready to come out. There's my peony that bloomed. And then look at your Hesperaloe, Dad. There it is. There's your Hesperaloe blooming in the yard. I like it here because I can kind of almost ignore it. We don't have to worry about rainfall so much. The yellow is still here. It's right there. So we're going to grow that out and get it to bloom. So the yellow's right next to it. There's a bunch of it right there, like 4 different ones. Off of the 1 or 5. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's 5 now. Off that shoot you gave me, instead of getting bigger, it's just like made 5 offshoots. So, but this is the first full year or half year it's been in the ground. So I expect it to take off now. There's the peony, and there's my big cannas. Those are big cannas. The green leaf, they get like an orange-red flower on them. The green leaf there is a yellow flowering canna. And that should be about it for this side of the house. I'm getting ready to do some work. These here, you can see these spindly things. This is what's left of Fairy Evening Primrose. It comes back every year. It fills the beds, and it's just a solid color of pink blossoms all the way across that lasts for like 3 or 4 weeks. When it gets into this mode, going into the heat of summer, that's when I go in, I clean it out, I shake the seeds back in the flower bed, and then I just mulch, and everything else grows beautifully the rest of the year. So it's just kind of a nice filler for early spring bloom. Oh, there's catnip back there. It's a volunteer. But yep. But yeah, it bloomed this year. This is the first year this has bloomed. It looks great. We'll talk to you later. Bye.